some tweaks? Obviously, this team went through a lot of injuries, a lot of changes, ups and downs, and it's understandable that it would be hard to be cohesive on the court. What, in your estimations, do you agree with that there needs to be some tweaks, and maybe where would be a spot that you think?
The biggest thing is we need a point guard. That's for sure. We need a point guard. That's for sure.
We need a point guard, that's for sure. I don't think he knows how stupid he sounds, bro. Like, in today's video, I will be exposing Domantas Sabonis for being the most overrated center in the league. All I ask is that you guys like the video, man. Make sure you guys subscribe and turn on the post notifications if you're new, if you like sports content. And hopefully this video changes your perspective on Sabonis like it did me. But he claims that he needs a point guard, and he had a point guard in De'Aaron Fox who was averaging 27 points, 7 assists, and 5 rebounds in 7 games versus the Warriors. So when you got the point guard that you were asking for, you guys lost. So the common denominator can't be the point guard. Now, while De'Aaron was hooping, you was holding your chest like you got hit by a 7.62. It's not De'Aaron Fox's fault Draymond Green was stomping all over your ass, bro. I mean, Draymond Green was stomping all over you like you was a GTA San Andreas pedestrian. Now, let's talk about what you did in the play-in tournament. You scored 11 points, you had 13 rebounds, and you had 5 assists. And you shot 5 for 13 from the field. So 38%, which is terrible. You also had one of the worst plus-minuses on the team. Now, I would understand if DeMar DeRozan said, hey, the team needs to go look for a point guard, that's for sure. But you played 37 minutes and did nothing. Now, a lot of people love Domantas Sabonis because he has the ability to achieve double-doubles at such a high rate. But what people don't tell you about his stats is that he puts up pretty much empty stats because he has such a high usage rate in the offense. And one of the reasons why I say Sabonis is overrated is because he's averaging 0.4 blocks per game, which is absolutely horrible for a center. Let me put it into this perspective. Steph Curry is averaging 0.4 blocks this season. And Steph Curry is not as tall as Sabonis, one, and he's not a rim protector at all. Steph Curry is just a 6'2 to 6'3 guard who occasionally gets blocks. There's no reason why a guy like Sabonis is only averaging 0.4 blocks and he's literally 7 feet tall. That just doesn't make sense. And the crazy thing is, it gets worse than that. Kyrie Irving is literally averaging more blocks this season than Domantas Sabonis, bro. Kyrie is averaging 0.5 and Domantas is 0.4. And Kyrie, again, is just like Curry. He's about 6'2", 6'3". Now, Kyrie can play defense, but there's no reason why Kyrie has as many blocks. And lastly, let's talk about Fred VanVleet. Fred VanVleet is averaging 0.4 blocks this season, which is crazy. The same as Sabonis. But Fred VanVleet is literally 6 feet, and he's 31 years old. Sabonis is a whole foot taller than him, and he's much younger than Fred VanVleet. Yet he's keeping up with a 31-year-old Fred VanVleet when it comes to blocks. I don't get it. And then here's a clip right here, him getting dunked on by Daniel Gafford in the play-in. Like, I just don't understand why people rate this guy as a top 5 center in the league. It just doesn't make sense to me. I'm gonna also show you guys another clip. Here's a clip where AD shoots a 3, the Mavs miss, and they get the offensive rebound, and PJ Washington gets it. Now let's put it in slow-mo. Anthony Davis misses. He's in position to get the rebound, but he lets PJ Washington grab it right over him and hit him with a standing dunk. Now, PJ Washington is only 6'7", but in that clip, he looked like he was about 7 foot, 7'1". And that's the big problem with Sabonis. He's one of the tallest players on the court, but he looks just like Rudy Gobert when it comes to playing defense, bro. Like, he has an ability to just give up on getting rebounds, and he just lets the other team get it. He plays so lazy, which is why I really have him as one of the most overrated bigs in the league. And this is the main reason why he's overrated too, is that he's only averaging 12.7 rebounds and 2 assists in 20 playoff games, bro. That's terrible to me because, as you guys seen earlier in the stats, he was getting so many double-doubles throughout his career. But when it comes to high-level playing games, those stats don't translate to playoff success, bro, and it shows, which is why the Kings can't win shit. Now, Domantas Sabonis was ranked 11th. He was ranked as the 11th best player according to ESPN, and it's absolutely foolish. And I'm going to show you guys the players that he was ranked above coming into this season. Domantas Sabonis was ranked ahead of Ja Morant. He was ranked ahead of Tyrese Maxey. He was ranked ahead of Donovan Mitchell. He was ranked ahead of Devin Booker. He was ranked ahead of Jaylen Brown. He was ranked ahead of Anthony Davis. And he was ranked ahead of Jalen Brunson. And if you ask me, I would never take Domantas Sabonis over those guys that they just listed, which is why I feel like he's overrated. I mean, that ESPN list was so bad, it looked like Ant-Man's face scan in 2K. Like, that's how bad it was. Now, I'm not denying that Domantas Sabonis is a really good center. Like, I will give him that. He is an amazing rebounder, especially for his size. He really rebounds well. He has rebound chase on goal, most definitely, but a lot of people tend to just put Sabonis in that top 5 category or that elite category. I don't feel like he's elite at all. Now, this is not a video to just hate on Sabonis. I feel like Sabonis does have potential to get better. But as you guys see in these clips, he really just focuses on trying to score in the paint. And I feel like if Sabonis actually switched his game up a little bit and he wasn't just such a pick and roll merchant, or if he wasn't just such a paint merchant at times, he would be way better. Like in this clip right here, that's a clip of him shooting a 3. And I'm hard on Sabonis because he has the ability to shoot 3s. He just doesn't shoot them at a high enough rate. Here's another clip of him making 3s. Like, if you would do this more often, the Kings would actually win more games, and the point guard situation wouldn't even be a problem. Look, another 3. That's against the Warriors, by the way. But I don't know what it is when it comes to playoff game situations. He just doesn't space the floor out and has the confidence to shoot 3s. And teams on the scouting report notice, which is why you can really run Sabonis off the floor if you run a zone defense. And with how the NBA been running zone defense more than ever, you need to start shooting that mid-range more. Instead of trying to play make at the mid-range, he needs to start learning how to shoot at the mid-range. He needs to learn how to pick and pop a lot better. That's something I noticed with his game. Now, Sabonis also needs to work on his one-on-one defense. When I was watching the play-in tournament, he was letting AD just get whatever, bro, which is why, again, the Kings run a lot of zone defense to hide Sabonis' weaknesses on defense. And Sabonis needs to also work on getting the right hand. The problem with him is he forces way too much stuff with his left hand, and it just leads to getting blocks. Now, I do feel bad for Sabonis a little bit because you guys could have had Luka Doncic, but I'm going to be honest, does Luka Doncic and De'Aaron Fox mesh? I don't know, bro. I don't think De'Aaron and Luka would have been the best fit. Now, I ain't gonna lie, you could have did anything but choose Marvin Bagley, so Kings fans definitely got to rage on that. But I want you guys to comment down below. How do you personally feel about Sabonis? Do you think I'm being too hard on him for saying he's overrated? Or do you feel like what he said was out of pocket with the point guard position? Because you've had a good point guard in De'Aaron Fox, and it never led to any type of success. Y'all tried to make Mike Brown the scapegoat, but Mike Brown was actually a really good coach. Mike Brown was running zone defense more than ever to hide your flaws, bro. So, I personally don't know how to feel about this situation, but I do know that Sabonis is probably the most overrated center in the league. Like, I wouldn't take him over Zubac. I wouldn't take him over Bam Adebayo. I wouldn't take him over Jokic. I wouldn't take him over Cat. It's a lot of bigs that I wouldn't take. That I would take over Sabonis. Sabonis is just not really all of that to me. Again, just because you're an elite rebounder and you put up stats in a regular season, that doesn't mean that you're going to be a good playoff center. And another thing I noticed, it seemed like he was taking shots at his teammates. When he said we need a point guard, was he throwing shots at DeRozan because DeRozan wasn't really passing the ball? Because DeRozan did have 33. So maybe he was taking shots at DeRozan, or maybe he was taking shots at Levine, or maybe he just feels like he's not getting enough shots in the rotation. I don't know. But I feel like Domantas Sabonis is wrong in this situation. You don't tell the GM what they need to focus on. You need to focus on you, bro. And lastly, shout out to Malik Monk. I know he didn't play, but Malik Monk has a lot of upside and potential in this Kings offense going forward.